One thing that we do get often is going to be people that say you have a violation or some sort of outstanding something in, say, we'll say Colorado. Person moves to South Carolina and they try to go obtain their license. They go to the DMV. Hey, I'm trying to get my license in South Carolina, but they're saying, hey, Colorado says your license is suspended. You're not able to get a license with us. States communicate. With that being said, now that you're in a new state, what type of SR-22 should I get? When you arrive or when that situation arises, we have a lot of people that call us and try to get more information about it. So in that specific situation, the person that moved to South Carolina, they would get a South Carolina policy, but then we would attach a Colorado SR-22 to it. With that being said, there are other things that come into play. We need to make sure that the liability limits that we currently have in South Carolina are fulfilling Colorado limits as well. In that specific situation, South Carolina and Colorado match up just fine. That we wouldn't need to make any additional changes or increase coverage at that point. But there are other states where liability limits vary, or including adding the uninsured motorist at that point, where we would have to add that to make sure that things are copacetic with the state that's requesting the SR-22 at that time.
And that's called an out-of-state SR-22.
Out of state SR-22. Yep. And also, not all carriers offer out of state SR-22s.
Great point. Some of the situations that Crystal was indicating, different states have their own requirements for minimum liability limits. For example, in Crystal's example, Colorado and South Carolina both have the same minimum liability requirements. It's a difference between whether the uninsured motorist is required or not. But a state that say, let's take that same individual, they got into trouble in Alaska, and now they've moved down to Colorado. Alaska has a higher minimum liability requirement. Their liability requirement, you have to have at least $50,000 per person, up to $100,000 per accident for bodily injury. I believe it's $25,000 in property damage still. I could be wrong.
No, you're correct.
It is 25. Okay, great. But in Colorado, the state minimum limits to be on the road legally is at $25,000 per person for bodily injury, up to $50,000 per accident, and then $25,000 in property damage. So that
15.
individual on their Colorado policy to have an SR-22 filing requirement for Alaska to release their license for that suspension or that hold, the Colorado policy now must be elevated to meet at least the minimum requirements of Alaska. So that would be Colorado policy at 50, 125. And then Alaska will release the hold on the Alaska, requirement, with a caveat saying you got to carry it for whatever amount of time that's stipulated. And then the individual can go ahead and secure their Colorado license.
You guys have done
as Crystal's indicated, those states do talk to each other. They do. And so if you get into trouble with Alaska and you have that all requirement done, that's great. And you're doing your time. And then you're like, I don't need to carry this anymore. As soon as Alaska gets that notification that policy's canceled, they will send the notification to Colorado saying, hey, they haven't fulfilled their SR-22 requirement. We're resuspending, which will then trigger a suspension on your Colorado license. Then you're getting into trouble with multiple states.
It's not like it's not like a situation in the Old West where you can just make a run for the border and cross the border and not have to worry about the laws that you've got from before.
Exactly.
Yes, I have had people where they legitimately thought, nope, I don't need to do anything with that state. I'm here now. Nothing I can do about it. And then they try to go get their license and then they call back and they're like, okay, what do we need to do?
And to compound the situation, they don't read their mail or keep their address updated with the DMV. And then now their license gets suspended and then they get pulled over. And now they're having a bench warrant or they're getting pulled into pulled in and then their car gets impounded and towed because there's nobody else to take the car. It's a compounding situation. So, other words, just do right. If you get into trouble, that's fine. It happens.
Do your
But
time. Get out.
yeah, do your time, get it done, get it over, get that monkey off your back.